They told him to lock it down, patent it, protect it, squeeze every last guilder out of it. Instead, he gave it away for free. And that single decision is the reason you grew up with a tape deck in your bedroom. This is the story they left out of the history books. In the early 1960s, music was a prisoner. If you wanted to record sound at home, you were chained to a monster called the reel-to-reel tape recorder. It was bulky, it was expensive, and it was maddening to use. You had to thread a wafer-thin ribbon of magnetic tape through a maze of mechanical guides by hand, hoping it didn't snap or tangle. It was the kind of machine that made you feel stupid for owning it. And one night, a Dutch engineer named Lou Ottens sat fighting with exactly that. The story goes that he was trying to play a piece of classical music, futzing with the threading mechanism for hours in the dark. By the time he gave up, something had clicked in his mind. There had to be a better way. Sound should not be this hard. Music should fit in your pocket, not fill up your living room. Now, who was this man? Lou Ottens was born in the Netherlands in 1926, and here is a detail that tells you everything about him. As a teenager, during the Nazi occupation of his country, he secretly built a radio with a directional antenna so his family could listen to forbidden broadcasts from London. He literally built a machine to hear voices the authorities wanted silenced. That instinct, making the inaccessible accessible, would define his entire life. By 1960, Ottens was running product development at a Philips factory in Hasselt, Belgium, and he gave his team a mission that sounded almost impossible. Take that clumsy, room-sized tape technology and shrink it down, make it smaller, cheaper, and so simple that anyone, anywhere, could use it without a manual. But how do you design something that has never existed? Ottens did something brilliant in its simplicity. He carved a block of wood, a small, flat rectangle, sized precisely to slip into his jacket pocket. That wooden block was the target. The finished product, whatever it turned out to be, had to be no bigger than that. He carried the future around in his coat before it was even real. And in 1963, his team unveiled it to the world at a radio exhibition in Berlin, the Compact Cassette, a small plastic shell holding 2 tiny reels of tape, with the fragile mechanical guts sealed safely inside. No more threading, no more snapping tape. You just dropped it in and pressed play. The marketing line said it all. It was smaller than a pack of cigarettes. Now, here is where most tellings of this story stop. The clever man, the wooden block, the happy invention. But the real story, the part that actually changed your life, was just beginning. Because inventing the cassette was not the hard part. Winning was the hard part. You see, Ottens was not the only one trying to tame the tape. This was a war, a format war, and it was about to get vicious. The cassette had a serious problem in its early days. The sound quality was, frankly, terrible. It ran at a slow speed and was originally pitched as a tool for dictation, for businessmen recording memos, not for music lovers. Serious audio enthusiasts laughed at it, and waiting in the wings were giants ready to crush it. There was Telefunken. And most dangerous of all, there was Grundig. At that time, the largest tape recorder manufacturer on the entire planet. Here is a detail that has been almost completely buried. Philips and Grundig had actually been working together. But when Philips quietly chose to back Ottens's design and only told their partner at the last minute, Grundig was furious. They walked away. And then they did something remarkable. Using construction drawings of the cassette they had obtained during the negotiations, Grundig built their own rival format. They called it the DC International. In 1965, the biggest tape company in the world rolled out a direct competitor designed to bury the Philips cassette before it could grow. So picture the situation: a small Belgian engineering team, a format with mediocre sound, and a global titan coming to destroy it. By every logic of business, the cassette should have died right there. It should be a forgotten footnote, the way most of the technology in this story has been forgotten. So what saved it? This is the decision they do not teach you. Philips wanted to do what every company does: protect the patent, license it for money, control it. But there was another path, and the argument for it grew louder, especially after Philips reached out to a rising Japanese company called Sony. Sony understood that for any format to truly take over the world, it needed everyone building it, not just one company hoarding it behind a paywall. After some genuinely hard negotiation, Philips made a choice that must have horrified their accountants. They gave it away. By 1965, Philips opened the compact cassette format to manufacturers around the world, royalty-free, free of charge. Any company, anywhere, could build cassettes and cassette players using their standard without paying a cent. Lou Ottens himself championed this. He wanted music to be portable and accessible to everyone, and he believed locking the format away would strangle it in the crib. Think about what that meant. While Grundig kept its rival format proprietary and controlled, the Philips cassette became a free gift to the entire industry. And the entire industry took it. 85 different manufacturers jumped on board. By 1968, over 2.4 million players had been sold. The format spread like wildfire precisely because nobody owned the fire. And Grundig's format? The mighty rival from the biggest tape company on earth? It could not compete against something that was free and everywhere. The DC International was pulled from shelves in 1967. It lasted barely 2 years before vanishing into history. A ghost format that almost nobody alive today has ever heard of. This is the lesson buried in the plastic. The cassette did not win because it was the best. In the early days, it genuinely was not the best. It won because Lou Ottens and Philips understood something their competitors did not. Sometimes the way to own the world is to refuse to own it at all. And own the world it did. Once the format was free, the innovations exploded. Engineers improved the tape quality until it could rival far more expensive systems. And then, in 1979, that little pocket-sized format Ottens had dreamed up became the heart of a device that changed human behavior forever: the Sony Walkman. For the first time in history, you could carry your own private soundtrack with you, everywhere you walked. The wooden block in Lou's pocket had become a cultural revolution in millions of pockets worldwide. The cassette gave us the mixtape, that deeply personal act of recording songs for someone you loved. It gave bootleggers and garage bands a cheap way to spread music the record labels ignored. In countries where information was controlled, cassettes smuggled forbidden speeches and banned music past the censors, just like the teenage Lou's secret radio decades earlier. The format democratized sound. It put the power to record and share directly into the hands of ordinary people. Over 100 billion cassettes were eventually sold. But here is the final twist, and it tells you exactly what kind of man Lou Ottens was. He never romanticized his own creation. When the cassette had its big comeback in later years, with hipsters and collectors treating it as a treasure, Ottens thought it was silly. He genuinely believed his next invention was better. Because yes, Ottens did it again. In the 1980s, he helped lead the Philips team that, together with Sony, created the compact disc. The same instinct: make it smaller, make it cleaner, make it better. And once again, he insisted it be compact enough to echo the cassette that started it all. Lou Ottens died in 2021 at the age of 94. And to the very end, he refused to take sole credit. He always insisted it was teamwork, a group of young engineers who built the future together. He remained genuinely baffled that the world made such a fuss over a little plastic box. But that little plastic box and the radical decision to give it away quietly reshaped the entire 20th century. The next time you see a dusty cassette in a drawer, remember, it was almost crushed by a giant. It was saved not by greed, but by generosity. And the man who invented it could fit the future of music inside his coat pocket, and then handed it to the whole world for free. They will tell you inventions win by being the best. The cassette tape proves they sometimes win by being free. And that is the part they left out.